Assalamu alaikum my dear students. Once again welcome to my YouTube channel by the name MS Lectures, and today the topic which I am going to demonstrate you is regarding the contraction of the muscles. We know that muscles actually exhibit the two types of the contraction. One is the isometric and second is the isotonic. So first of all, talking about that, what is the isometric contraction? So let us suppose that this is a particular muscle. This is a particular muscle and a load heavy load is attached to this muscle. So a heavy load is being attached to this particular muscle. So this load is actually stretching this muscle towards the downward position. So this muscle is being stretched and the tension of this muscle is high. So the tension of this muscle is high. So this muscle would try to lift this particular load towards the upward direction, but due to the large amount of weight which is pulling this particular muscle downward, so that's why the tension in this muscle would be there would be the greater tension. So that's why this muscle would not be able to contract properly. So that's why due to the high tension in this muscle, the length would not change. So in the isometric contraction, the length would not change. So this is the important point we must need to remember, that length is unchanged. Length is unchanged in the isometric contraction. Now again I'm repeating it, that why the length is unchanged in this particular scenario, because of the too much weight, there is the large amount of tension in this muscle. So that's why it is not able to contract or lift this particular load upwards. So that's why the tension is great in the isometric contraction, but the length is unchanged in the isometric contraction. So now we will discuss the isotonic contraction. That what is the difference between the isometric and the isotonic contraction? We will compare it. So again, this is the muscle, but this time the load which is being attached to it is small. This time the load is small. So what would happen, that because this load is small, so that's why the muscle can easily contract. It can easily contract because the load is small, and that is why the resistance and the tension is not great in this particular muscle. So the tension is almost, you can say, is almost zero. Why the tension is almost zero? Because of the less amount of weight that is pulling or stretching this muscles downward. So that's why there is very much less tension that is being offered to this muscle by this load. So that's why this muscle can easily contract towards upward, and this load can easily be picked up or uplift by this muscle. So that's why there would be the change in length. So length would be changed. Length would be changed in the isotonic contraction. Isotonic contraction. Sorry, length would be changed. Now why the length would be changed? Because this muscle can easily contract towards the upward direction. It can easily contract because the load is not too much great. The load is not of too much weight, and that is why this muscle can easily be contracted towards the upward, and this load can easily be uplifted, and there would be the change in length. But the tension is almost zero because of the less weight that is being offered to this muscle. So there would be almost no tension, and this muscle can easily uplift this load followed by the contraction and the change in the length. So I would summarize this, that in the isometric contraction there was the change in length. Sorry, there was no change in length in the isometric contraction because there was so much tension due to the large amount of weight. So that's why the tension was great, so contraction was not possible. The load cannot be picked, So that's why the length was constant in the isometric. Length was constant in the isometric contraction. You must need to remember this. But in the case of isotonic, there was no tension because of the small amount of weight. So the load can easily be picked. The load was able to easily the load was being easily picked up by this particular muscle, followed by the contraction, and the length was changed in this particular scenario, which is the isotonic contraction. So in short, the length was not changed in the isometric contraction because of the large amount of tension, and the length was changed and the load was uplifted followed by the contraction of the muscle due to the small amount of tension and weight. So that is the basic difference between the isotonic and the isometric contraction, and hope you've understood this concept well. Last but not the least, don't forget subscribing MS lectures. Thank you.